baby. It's time to ride the funk train. Oh, my goodness. How you doing there, Silverback?
I'm doing good. The timing on your toot toot's getting worse and worse, huh? I wonder why that
we
is.
just talked about everybody's got a little brain fog today. Nobody feels hot.
Yeah.
You know, it's I think we all have coronavirus 25 or something. We're all dying again, I guess. But we have a great guest today, an interesting fellow, an interesting story, and it's interesting. I don't know too much about our guest, but I don't want to talk. We're not going to bring him out yet. I want to talk about something. I got the Atari hat on. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's my wife's hat, so it smells a
Very
little
nice.
like Chanel No. 5 or something, or maybe that's Lysol with the lemon. I don't know. It's something like that. But yesterday, Atari released a brand new game. They've been putting a lot of pub into Sneaky Box, who's the folks that make the recharge games, and Atari released Days of Doom was just released yesterday. And guess what I've been doing all day?
You've been playing it?
I've been playing Days of Doom on the Atari
wow.
VCS, and let me tell you, pretty good. It's we won't get into it too much because I'm going to do an interview. I'm going to do a review of it this week. But so it's a turn-based strategy game, and it's cartoony, and it's a roguelike. And I've been playing video games, John, since I was 8 years old. I don't know what the hell roguelike means. I see it everywhere. Do you know what that means?
It's like the game Rogue.
What the hell is Rogue? That sounds like something your uncle would play, and you wouldn't. You have to go to the counselor.
Right. There's two of them. There's Rogue Like, and then there's Rogue Light.
What the hell?
Yeah.
This is Rogue Light. So what does that mean? Yeah. So
that means that should mean when you die, you don't lose all of your progress. You only lose a little bit, I believe.
Means this. Wait a minute. These actually mean things?
Yeah.
I had no idea. So anyway, this is a Rogue Light. I remember that because I thought a Rogue Light, you stick it into the, you stick it into the wall and it lights up the room when you want to go to sleep or something and protects you from the thieves. I thought
that's a night light, but yeah.
Well, I thought a rogue light would protect you from the,
from the rogues, right?
Yeah, you're in Toledo. You got some rogues up there.
Oh yeah.
So, so this is we won't get into it, but it's pretty fun. There's a strange caveat to it. So, turn-based fighting games, strategy games. There's different levels. Like up here, the complexity is like Final Fantasy Tactics. Have you ever played that?
Oh yeah. Yes, I have.
Pretty confusing, right?
Yep.
Okay, so
it can be, yeah.
So there's that. You want to take that? The Finbots are in here bringing me bacon again. I got to get them rewired on the mothership here. So we got that one, and then like Ogre Battle 64 would be kind of that complex.
Okay.
And then you have like EXO, and then like Mario Rabbids. You ever played that one? That one's pretty good.
No, I have.
That's a really good game. And then this one's kind of like right here. It feels like a really, really, really good cell phone game. So it is a little pricey, I would say.
Yeah. Was it $14.99?
No, it's $30.
It's $30?
Yeah.
Wow.
You told me. Are you drunk? Do you have brain fog too? Because you told me it was $30.
I was up all night the night before, so I don't remember what I told you yesterday.
You said you'd send me a lot of free money.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So let me just say this: if you're an Atari fan, it doesn't suck. I guess that's what we always worry about that at this point with Atari. Does the damn thing suck? And it doesn't. So,
did you see they released another game today? I believe.
What is it?
I was not ready for that follow-up question, so I'd have to look. I was on there today because now I'm having the issue where they won't. My zip code won't go through, so I can't buy anything. But when I was on the store, they had another new game on there that I wasn't able to purchase, and I wasn't
newer than Days of.
Yeah, yep, it came out today. Yep.
Okay, wow, man, Atari is just kind of rocking if they get their shit straight.
Yeah, I sent him an email. I said, I'd like to give you money in exchange for games. And they have not emailed me back yet, but
It's what a novel idea. I would like
Yeah.
to purchase things from you so I can
Right.
use your freaking thing. Now, you also said there's like a Bomberman game that was supposed to be a television game?
Yeah, what was that? Is it Dynablasters, I believe?
Yeah, and that
was advertised as in Television Amico, and I saw it on there yesterday. Yeah, I thought it was an Amico exclusive. Now, I might be wrong. It might be a different version, but I was kind of surprised to...
It doesn't look like an Intellivision game. I mean, it looks like it's got the graphics on it look kind of like a really, really good GameCube game or something like that.
Right. I mean, well, I think that's what the Amico was it was going to have modern graphics on basically like a VCS. So,
well, Days of Doom, your buddy here that likes you and not me, he subscribed to your channel and not mine because he doesn't love freedom and funk. But he Days of Doom is on everything. It's on Steam. It's on the PS networks. It's on Xbox. Me and John try to keep it straight when we can actually order things off the damn internet on our VCS.
Right.
Which is fun when it works.
Yeah. I was loving the VCS up till last night. So
it's fun.
It's a good
system for what it is, and it's just they got to get out of their own way.
I wish they would. I wish they would fix the zip code thing because apparently that's been going on for a few months.
Yeah.
And I don't know what causes it because it hit me out of the blue. I was buying all kinds of stuff, and now
I've never had that problem. So knock on wood.
Yep.
But you know what? I need to quit spending money so much. So maybe the Lord will do it for me.
Right.
What's over my shoulder, John?
That's a CRT television.
Yep.
And that looks
crystal clear.
Crystal clear. Is that Popeye?
That looks like Popeye's behind.
I think that's Popeye, yeah.
Have you heard of this game Popeye for the Atari 7800?
I've heard it's very good. I've heard
it's just you know what? It's so good I haven't even played it. I just sit across the room and stare at it because I'm too intimidated. It looks too damn good.
It's a hard game, but it's a lot of fun. I think we know somebody that worked on that, don't we?
That's right. This guy, this man, this future legend, this guy who's going to be in the pantheon with Bob DeCrescenzo and Ken Siders and those 7,800 homebrew legends. And even he may even get, and if this Atari conflation with the homebrew thing, he may just become like, Warsaw or, Howard Scott Warsaw here, because these homebrew guys may be like, contracted labor here with these creations we're hearing in the future. And we'll talk to him about it. But we've got Darryl Guenther, the guy who programmed the Atari 7800 version of Popeye, which I got to tell you, John, I got the old Atari stick here and I play the arcade version. I like playing the 7800 version a little bit better than the arcade version. And I can't put my finger on it. I'm going to see what he has to say.
All right.
About the differences, because I did see somewhere where there are a couple differences, but without further ado, my friend, Darryl, the man.
There he is.
Look at that shiny head there.
Yeah.
Something to be proud of. Now, your first game you ever programmed, my friend, was Popeye, and on the Atari 7800 Forever website, it's in the top 10 of the best 7800 games of all time. John, you just released a video.
I did.
That you ran down the homebrews. Where did it rank on your top 70?
Out of the top 78 homebrews was number 4.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's high praise. There's guys like Matthew Ludke, whose first game was Santa Simon. Looks good, but it's just a Simon game, like a Simon Says game or the game Simon. And then his next game took 10 years. And then it was Froggy, which is a version of Frogger, and it's fantastic.
It is.
But it did take him 10 years to do it, or something like that, 8 or 9 years. You came out of nowhere, hit a home run with Popeye. So I guess you think you're all that in a bag of chips now, don't you?
No. Actually, the opposite. I appreciate all the praise for the game, but there's so many things that have fallen into place that the early guys like Bob and the Froggy development, there was no 7800 basic at that time. Yeah. There's such a great community out there for helping and guidance that it just happened organically.
So what you're saying is you're standing on the shoulders of a lot of great men before you, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. That's good.
So John and I are notorious for being complete technical dumbasses when it comes to programming this stuff. That's why I think me and him are a little different, because most of the guys get together and they start talking about the circuit boards and stuff like that. I still think there's like elves and witch magic inside of these cartridges, pulling pulleys and stuff. I have no idea how this stuff works. So explain to us how in 2002, like when Ken Siders made Qbert, how different that is from what can happen today with the assemblers that these guys have come up with.
Well, all right. So when I grew up with my Atari computer, I programmed in BASIC, and it's a level of programming where you want to display something on the screen, a name, you use a command print, you jump around. 7800 BASIC is similar. If you want to plot a sprite, you draw a sprite and you plot the sprite at a certain coordinates. So really, there's a lot of things you have to learn about it, but it's not that low level learning how to set up a display list and learning how to jump and do everything manually. Like I've had help from like Playsoft. He's helping with some things, and he's interjected some assembly routines and some other programs, and to see that, to look at that, and I say I want Brutus's X position to be 100 on the screen out of 200. They're loading that 100 into a temporary variable and then stacking it and whatever. I don't even understand it. and I figure at this age, with everything that I have going on, I'm a web programmer by trade. So I use C#, which is, still not assembly. To sit down and learn 6502 assembler and then figure out how it works for the 7800, there's not enough hours in the day for me to do that.
Right.
So
you don't deal with the display list and the display list and all that. That's all done for you with the BASIC?
Yeah. 7800 BASIC, you tell it, I want to use, this mode, and I want the background to be this color, and then
how many, I don't know if you can even answer this accurately, but how, like, to do Popeye 15 years ago, how long would it have taken you to do it 15 years ago as opposed to like last year or the 2 years ago when you made it?
If I went back in time and I took my i7 PC with Photoshop and all the graphics tools, I can't even imagine, really. Because everything is instant gratification. Right. The 7800 BASIC that Matt Smith set up the environment that he set up in Visual Studio Code, and Reven did with the 7800 BASIC itself. But that environment with the sprite creator, I draw a lot of my sprites and tile graphics in that built-in program. Yeah. And then it's available right then. I don't have to, transport it from another mainframe or whatever they had to do back in the day. Yeah, so it's makes a big difference, I think.
I bet. It gives me hope that one day that I'll be able to fool around. I've always wanted to make a game. It's just like, good grief, I just don't even know. I still type web page code by hand, like HTML, like a href equals, quote.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to. That's why my website looks like it's like one step above GeoCities or Angel Fire. It's because that's how long ago that website was made. But again, your game is amazing, and I just want to. Of course, we're talking about Popeye, and you've done a few others. But what before we get into anything else and talk about Popeye even more, what's your background as far as programming and stuff?
All right. Well, in 7th grade, there weren't a lot of people that worked with computers, so I learned enough with BASIC that I could, plot a sprite on screen or plot a player missile graphic on screen with my Atari 800 XL. But BASIC was too slow. I'd have a couple things moving around and it would just go so slow that it wasn't even really a game.
Yeah.
But I would figure out how, to make 2 characters into a game somehow. And I had fun with that. And then I just kind of got out of it for a while. I had dreams of doing it. I wanted to do that, and computers got outside of my price range as a kid, and I just moved on to other things, and I put it on the shelf for a long time. And and then probably about 2008, I decided, let's get into something with computers, and I found web development, web programming, web development, and got back into it and realized that it really hadn't changed that much. It wasn't that much different, and now computers are faster, and that's where I kind of got a little bit of confidence to jump in and try some things.
So you didn't do anything with computers until 2008, huh?
Yeah, other than the things I did back with BASIC and on the old Atari.
Right. You look like a big fellow. Were you in loan sharking or something? Were you a bodyguard or something?
No, I just ate. A lot.
Me and you both.
Yeah. No.
Right. Yeah, it's always amazing to me how. So you left for a while. You were able to plot some things on the screen, and now you've come back and gone as far to make an incredible arcade port. It's just amazing how you guys do this, because I tried messing with the BASIC environment and I gave up.
Really?
I didn't know. God, yeah. It's more difficult than he makes it sound.
Well, when I was a kid, I was amazed. I'd watch Pac-Man.
Yep.
And I'd see, I think there was something that then he said before I came on, and I can't remember what it triggered in me, but the monsters their eyes moved. And I really thought that, hey man, if I get by and they're not looking, they're not going to know I'm there. I thought they really saw with their eyes when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I got my computer and I could plot things, I realized that, okay, this one is at X position 10. Pac-Man is at X position 20. If this coordinate is less than this, I need to add to get to this.
And that's where I get caught up at.
Yeah, and that's where it clicked for me. Like, okay, I need to get to these coordinates on the screen, and it's all about that.
Yep.
I haven't even thought about the damn eyeballs on the ghost monsters yet. So I wonder, is there a thing? I mean, they are moving around. No, it's just graphics.
It's just changing the sprites, back and forth.
I suck at Pac-Man, so I was like, man, maybe they are like, like you got to be like sneaky or something. Anyway, that's amazing. Now, Popeye, we got to just say is just. I've always thought Popeye should have been on the Atari 7800. The Donkey Kong was released, and for some reason, Donkey Kong back then they never put 4 screens. So I was always like, Popeye has 3 screens. Popeye is a single screen platformer. It's just made for the 7800, and it was one of those games I really wanted to see. And when I saw somebody doing it, I was like, hallelujah. I hope it gets released on cart, because that's how I like playing them the most. And it's tremendous. Now, I was reading some of we did a review And I think I was the first human being to realize that there was a programming flaw. And weirdly enough, I was on the phone with John because we just got our games. Is that what was happening, Silverback?
We just got our orders. It happened to be about the same time.
So we were like, it was like Christmas time. You're calling your 12-year-old friend, going, "Oh, I got the, I got the blood code working in Splatterhouse or whatever."
Right.
And so I was playing Popeye, which was my favorite, the one I wanted to play the most out of that last batch. And I was like, and I was talking to him. And I was like, "What the hell's going on with this freaking thing here?" Yep. And I said, "Did you see this, or is this just on my cart?" And it was the programming bug where on the second screen the bottles weren't racking up the points right.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. And then when you were responding to that, you said something about the Bluto and the Brutus conversation. Now this is like roguelite and roguelike. I'm learning so much today. I feel like I went to college. What is the difference? Because I never knew between Bluto and Brutus. I have no idea.
I'm a little foggy on this, but I can say that the arcade machine, which I have in my basement, the instruction card says Brutus. Like Brutus is the character they chose for this. From my recollection and what I gathered, we had a discussion in the Popeye thread, and I think it's somewhere in there. And so I'm going by memory. If I mess this up, please don't anybody hang me, because I know this is permanent. This is forever on the interwebs. but there was, I believe that Bluto might have been the original name, and then they thought there was a copyright for the name Bluto, so they switched to Brutus. And then they're like, "Oh no, it's not bad," and they went back to Bluto. But if you watch the cartoons, the Bluto is always the guy who would tie olive oil to the railroad tracks. He didn't want her. Nope. He just wanted to cause havoc for them. Brutus was the one who always wanted to steal olive oil from Popeye. So whether they're the same person or not, if you watch the cartoons, from everything I've seen, Brutus is kind of like the dainty, "I love olive. I want olive for myself," and he gets mad and attacks Popeye. Bluto just wants to tie her to a railroad track and kill them both.
Oh, wow.
He's just a bully.
So Brutus is the lover boy. Bluto is just some sort of raging lunatic, psychopath, alcoholic or something.
That's my observation, and I'd love to hear other people. I believe that was kind of confirmed in our chat that that was the behavior. But
that's really cool.
Who's in the movie with Robin Williams and Shelley Winters?
Oh God,
is it Bluto or Brutus? To me, it seems like it's Bluto.
That is a good question.
But see, Bluto, well, see, here we go. In the movie, if it is Bluto, he's in love with olive oil. But anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well.
Yeah. Did you ever think you'd be going into the lore of Popeye, after you made this game?
No.
You'd be defending the history of this cartoon.
I'm weird about that stuff. I get a little OCD about history. In my mind, it's like I do kind of like to preserve history. Yeah, even though I was never a big history. Yeah.
God, we got to get the definitive answers on these things.
Yeah,
and we need somebody to Google that for us.
Similar to the question about why did Popeye not come out on the 7800? Well, Atari didn't release it. It was Parker Brothers. So I don't know if the new Atari had rights to. They may have been able to reproduce 2600 cartridges with Popeye, but I don't know if they had rights to actually develop a new version.
Yeah, I just learned about that with the Tetris movie, how the licensing, like you could own a game, like somebody could come to you and they'd be like, "All right, Darryl, we want to license this game for arcades. We want to license it," and then somebody else could be like, "We want to do video games," and somebody else could come to you and be like, "We want to do," exactly. And I never knew that. That's why I always thought Atari invented Tetris, which actually was just a computer nerd in Moscow who was afraid he was going to get killed because he invented a computer game.
Yeah.
And Atari just bought the arcade rights. So that was pretty. So the licensing issues, I'm sure, Parker Brothers, they weren't making any 7800 games. So.
Right. Oh, no. They weren't even around, I don't think, at that point.
Yeah, at that point they weren't doing much of anything, I don't think, with video games, I should say.
Yeah, they still make board
so
games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. So I've noticed Popeye is a fantastic port of the arcade game, and we were even mentioning. I think me and Vinny are in agreement. We prefer it to the arcade game a little bit. But how difficult?
I think so.
I think so. How difficult is it when you're programming a game like Popeye that's beloved in the arcades? I mean, how hard is it to keep it true to that original copy?
Well, can I add something to your question, Silverback?
Yeah,
This is something because I don't know how he would answer that, but it's
I
like
want to know how he did
sun?
it. Well, I want to know how he did it.
Well, what were the differences? Because I remember reading something. You said you changed the behavior of Jesus. Now I don't Brutus.
And Jesus isn't in this.
I thought after you tripped it after 15 levels, he showed up.
Right. Not this version, just the arcade.
Okay. Brutus. So Brutus is in this one. So he's the lover guy. All right. So lover boy. So you changed the behavior of Brutus. What else did you change? Like cognitive, you're like, I want to do this. This will be superior.
Oh yeah, that is a good question. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say I didn't set out to change the behavior. So I didn't actually consciously say that. I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to, make sure I don't miss anything. But I didn't try to change the behavior, but I didn't study the behavior in depth. So Popeye was a big game to me when I was growing up, because when I saw Donkey Kong and I looked at the detail of the gorilla at the top of the screen, I just sat there in amazement. I'm like, this looks real. This is like a cartoon. It's never going to look this real at home. And then one day I forget where I was. I think Geauga Lake, water or amusement park, and I see Popeye. That really looked like a cartoon. Like that was the high resolution. The first time I ever saw such high resolution sprites that were, and it was more than just the detail of the sprites, but the mannerisms. Like Brutus didn't just hunt Popeye down and look in the direction he was walking. He'd stop and be like, where's Popeye at?
Yeah.
Those are the things that stood out for me. So those are the things that I focused on. Yeah.
So when you were doing, you didn't reference like the original code. Were you just doing it by feeling? Like,
yeah.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
High touch, not high tech. I like it. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And
that's really cool.
I can't put my finger on it. And we're 7,800 homers. So, but I really do think I have a Popeye thing here. And I'm like, I'd rather play the 7,800 version, and I can't really put my finger on it. But so congratulations. I mean, I don't know if that should make you. If I was doing it, I was like, I'm better than the original. I mean, that's saying something. That's one of the best. That's one of the best single screen platformer games of all time, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
That and Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Anyway, I have a list. Like, I don't even know if you know this, but on my website, Atari 7800 Forever, the single screen it said the best platform levels on the 7800 library. The first level of Popeye was number one on the whole library too. So you did get that distinction on my website too. So, and there's a lot of really good, there's a couple cool things in Donkey Kong Jr. and stuff like that in Donkey Kong. And but yeah, I thought the Popeye, the first screen in Popeye is probably the best one of those ever. What's your favorite screen, John, in the game? Do you like 1, 2, or 3?
To play, I like the first one because I just about mastered it now, or at least on the 7800. But as far as the visuals go, I really like the look of the second screen. I mean, I don't know what it is about that, but it looks really cool to me.
I've gotten to where I'm starting to like. I hated the pirate ship. I'm starting to like
one.
I'm starting to like the pirate. I'm starting to rock and roll on the damn pirate ship.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's all about that contraption conveyor belt thing at the top where you just go back and forth. You can kind of hit the letters, punch the buzzard, and for some reason, Brutus, his fat ass, has a hard time getting up them ladders.
Well, what was your favorite, Darryl? I mean, did you have a favorite screen, or is it a?
Well, I don't know if I ever thought about that question, but each one has its own, part that I like. I think the first screen gets the most like you got the punching bag. You've got this, and you got the spinach on everyone, but you got the ladder where you can go down or maybe back up if you're playing novice. You've got a lot more options. You got skulls later on the first screen, so the first screen actually grows as you go on. So I can see where that one kind of offers the most.
Yep.
I like the second screen because it's short. You don't have to get as many notes, and it's over, and you get to get on the seesaw, and it's pretty easy. And I like the ship because you could just jump around, and I like punching the vulture.
Yeah. I like punching him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I pretend it's my ex-wife.
There you go.
So, yeah, man. So we'll jump off here in Popeye here in a second, but somebody brought this up, and I did an article about your game again. I did a couple articles about this Popeye development on Atari 7800 forever. Mm-hmm. And I was fascinated to know that Nintendo was going to release Donkey Kong as a Popeye game.
Oh,
and I thought that was very interesting, and it would have changed video game history, man. It would have, God, what would have happened with all those characters? Donkey Kong, Mario, and Peach / Pauline or whatever, Paulette or whatever, Daisy or whoever she is. So, and I messaged you about this, and you were like, "Shut up, kid! You're bothering me." Basically, no, you're very. You were very polite.
You should.
I don't know how to program shit, and I don't know the limitations of 7800. But I thought, wouldn't there be? And somebody said this week on the Atari Age forums, and I was like, okay, this is kismet. I got to ask you face to face.
Okay.
Would it be crazy if there was a game that conflated both Donkey Kong and Popeye, and you could interchange between Mario's techniques and Popeye's techniques, where you have Popeye punching and Mario jumping, and you could kind of have them both in each game? I don't know what the question is. I just think that would be a cool thing to do. Kind of like
you think it would be cool?
You think that'd be cool?
Hey, ain't that cool?
Wouldn't that be fun? But I just think with the history and stuff, I think that would be like you could play. There could be a game where you could play it traditional both ways, but also like the bad guys could change. There could be like a lot of variants or something like that. I don't know. I just think that would be kind of cool. Like how would you clear the first Donkey Kong screen with Popeye punching instead of jumping, that kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Was that a question of whether I would want to add that to Popeye, or was that just a question? I can't remember.
I think I just wanted to. I think I'm just a dork, and I just was like, "Isn't that a cool thought?"
I think he's trying to put a bug in your ear.
Okay. I just wondered because Popeye got to the point where that was my first game, so there are things that as it went on, you asked the difference between this version and the arcade. Well, sometimes at the arcade, Brutus will jump down 2 levels. He doesn't just jump down 1; he'll jump down 2 to get to you. And I don't have enough room left in the game to do that.
Wow.
Plus, if I were to do that, there's a lot of stuff in there that if I were to remake this game today, I might do differently.
Okay.
Because this game started off with, hey, there's an environment for 7800 Basic that's supposed to be easy to use, and I hear that the 7800 can plot huge sprites. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I thought to myself, what is the largest sprite video game character that I, within reason, that I'd want to plot? And I like the classic games, and I went to Brutus. And that's how I ended up porting Popeye. I didn't set out to port Popeye. I wanted to plot the Brutus sprite on the screen and see if the 7800 could really do it justice. And then I decided to animate that sprite. Then I decided to make it controllable. And then I added Popeye on the screen.
Okay, well, and John, I hate that I keep stealing these questions from you.
Go ahead.
The last one was the last one was kind of like a special needs question. It wasn't even a question. It was just a statement of stupidness. But anyway, so what I'm hearing you say is you're not necessarily a fan of the Atari 7800. It wasn't like your favorite thing. You were drawn to it because of you heard that you could make large sprites on the 7800 and you wanted to see if you could.
I hated the 7800.
Oh man, get them off.
I had a 5200 and it had the pokey sound built in. And when I saw the 7800 initial releases, Ms. Pac-Man's a little bit smoother, know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is not much better than what I had. It's the resolution of the sprites wasn't any better because it never saw the potential. I realize that now.
Yep.
But now I love the 7800, and it's because I can see what it can do. I see the potential. I see that it was the budget Atari that killed it. It wasn't the system. It's a great system.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that too, because I think in a way your game has shown a lot of people that too. I mean that I've heard people say, "Wow, I didn't know that this game was possible on the 7800." And
the sprites, at least, looking that
right,
yeah,
yeah.
And the sound sounds good too. So
right.
I think that's the thing about the 7800 hobby as it stands today is we get to see all the Atari fans, because that's kind of where Atari started getting into trouble, really. Was Atari 7800 really got its
52,
it got its clock cleaned by the Nintendo. And I think we're now seeing that if it wasn't Penny Pincher, Jack Trammell trying to, not giving a crap about it and just releasing it as an afterthought, that if it was released in 84 instead of 86, what could it have done? And at that point, it could have had a few games that could have went toe-to-toe with Nintendo for a little minute. And Atari could have fared a little bit better than it did.
Right.
Nintendo, that lineup and what Nintendo was, there's nobody was going to stop that because they had just insane games coming out for that. But Atari, I don't know. That's kind of what I think. Your game, Muddy Funsters, Pac-Man Pluses, Sarnas, Mike's, MK Smith, all these cats, Vlad, Revan Tully, all these guys. And if I left anybody out, I'm sorry. Yeah, now I got to go down the list. Okay, and then there's Breck Brixius and then Franco Dragon and Gambler. Anyway, so all these guys, I think people are seeing this thing really was a pretty cool system, and it's fun today to even horse around with and look at. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. And
sure.
So
that's another long-winded question. The guest just goes,
Yep. That would be cool.
Yeah.
And so from there, so after Popeye, you started on Pengo, correct?
Yes.
And so Pengo, is that a game that you enjoyed? Was that a kind of a personal project, or is that something you just felt the 7800 needed, or?
I have to really channel that my mindset then. So I finished Popeye. Like I said, Popeye wasn't going to be a game, and then it became a game, and then it's like, oh, I've got to make it a full game. And once that was completed, I wanted to do something different, and I think this was a question that I've heard before is, how do you decide what you want to port?
Right.
Yeah. And with Pengo, it was like it came from a technical thing, just like plotting the sprite for Popeye.
Okay.
What about a board? Like, I knew how to plot maps, or tile maps, I should say, to get the Popeye screens and to navigate around that. What about a board that changes? Because now you've got, I mean, the 7800 can push a lot of sprites, but you're not going to have a row of ice block sprites. So it started off in how am I going to make a board that I can manipulate, and then your the necessity to convert that tile block into a sprite for a second, to wipe that out and then change it to a sprite and then convert it back to a block when you have your map, so that Pengo can find his way around the maze and the snow bees can find their way around the maze. It was a technical thing.
It's technically impressive because that's what I noticed is that there's a lot going on. And when we're interviewing John and I, when we're interviewing these programmers, me and John are just dumbasses. We're like, we want to play a new game. Hey! But then what you realize is when you talk to these guys is that, okay, this is actually special. See, you have the acumen. See, I wasn't even like when you were a kid, you were like looking at the eyeballs from the ghost. You were looking at, it's almost like pro wrestling or something. You were looking at the soft cell of Brutus looking around for Popeye. Never noticed that kind of stuff. I did later, but as a kid, I was just like, oh, this is fun. I wonder if I could win the world championship of this game. And then I would lose in 10 seconds. And then I'd be like, this game sucks.
Yeah.
But Pengo is a crazy game because it's not, that's a hard game to describe, to sell, to understand what really is happening. It's not an easy game to even comprehend as a player the first couple times you play it. And there's a lot of caveats there. Like there's almost like a short circuiting of you throw something into the side and everything kind of shakes and freezes for a moment. So there's a lot of stuff there that's not easy to. That's not like you were doing something unprecedented, I imagine, with the coding to get some of that stuff to work.
It was fun because it was challenging trying to figure out how to get that result. Yeah.
Wow.
I also like the fact that it feels like a different game because it's horizontal instead of vertical. The arcade is more, so it feels in a way almost like a different game altogether, like a sequel or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I did play the arcade Pengo a couple times, and I was horrible at it. But growing up, I had the 5200 version, and the 5200 version was so much fun. The video game crash hit, and now we have like 12 cartridges because they were $1.
Yep.
Which one are we going to play? And Pengo was one of the ones that my friends and I played a lot, and we got to enjoy that, and it was so much more fun to me. Like you were saying earlier, that I like that better than the arcade. It was so much more fun to me because it was balanced. The arcade, if you like Pengo, when you are against a wall and a Snowbee is traveling against the wall, you can shake the wall and they fall down. Well, if the Snowbee is 1 block away from you and it's running toward you and you shake the wall, it falls over, but it still hits you and you die. Even though it's crushed, you still die on the arcade. There were things about the arcade that I thought were just a little bit too brutal. Like they just it was too hard. And this one, when I did this, I kind of tried to find the balance of the 5200 version that I really got a lot of fun out of, and the challenge of the arcade and trying to make that happen. Okay. So that's where that ended up.
So here's the $65,000 question.
All right.
So Atari Age has now been consumed. And John, I'm telling you, John is a sharp cookie over here. This Toledo accent, don't let it throw you. He's a smart guy. He went to public high school up there. But he said when everything kind of went weird with the homebrew, he was like, I think Atari and Atari Age are going to combine because they didn't take the Atari licensed homebrews off the page. And I was like, you smart ass Sherlock Holmes mother effer. So now that Pengo, your version of Pengo is not going to be released by Atari Age, is there any chance you go with another developer or a publisher or Video 61 or Good Deal Games with this guy? Or is this just going to be one of those games that's just going to exist on a multi-cart, do you think?
I wish I could answer that. I feel like everything is too soon. Like even Popeye, I don't know what's going on with Popeye exactly right at this point.
Oh, okay.
So I wish I knew, because I even thought to myself, I thought, well, Atari used to release Pengo for the 5200 and the 2600. Could this get licensed as Pengo? But I think I would have heard something by now, first of all.
Don't know.
And secondly, I go back to they just bought Stern. Well, they like, why did they need Stern if they had the license to Berserk?
Right.
So those licenses must expire at some point.
Right.
Or, so I feel like I don't want to make any wrong move. I want to just wait and see what's going on.
So even the name change, Pengo wouldn't save it from being released, because you did change the name at one point.
Yeah,
but that doesn't matter because they took Froggy and Bonk and all that stuff.
Right.
Beef drop up and beef drop.
Yeah.
But this is, you got to admit, this is kind of an exciting time because Bob DeCrescenzo, Pac-Man Plus, got fail-safe on the VCS. So, and I know because I talked to Bob a couple years ago, he was really looking forward to getting his homebrew games involved with the flashbacks. It never really materialized, but now fail-safe is on the VCFs, and fail-safe is actually kind of countermeasure, which I don't know. You know, it's kind of a sequel. And so you never know. You may get a phone call or an email going, "Hey, man, we heard," because people are aware.
And your other game, Rat Trap, that you've been working on. Is there somebody that owns the license to Mousetrap right now? Does anybody know?
Well, here's the two things that between Mousetrap and Pengo. Pengo was owned, I believe, by Sega, which was and I think maybe there was maybe it was created by Corlin, but Sega distributed it or something. Okay. And then the rights to that was Popeye. Popeye rights went to Namco because they did that handheld phone version. But I don't know if Namco still has Popeye. Pengo, I think, might still be in the Sega. I don't know. You
might be right.
And then Mousetrap was Exidy. So
who owns that?
Yeah. So there's I did some looking around. I did some digging to try to find some of this stuff, and so I'm kind of trying to to see what the possibilities are.
Right.
Like I said before, because I'd much rather have it come out as Mousetrap, a legitimate, and I'd love to see Pengo on the 7800 because it was missing from that system. It's like a 5226.
It's a great. Your version is so good too, and it's again. I'm not just kissing your bald butt here, but I like it so much better than I do the arcade. I tried playing the arcade version after I played the 78, and I'm like, am I just a 78 homer, or am I just like this is much more fun? Because I do know, arcade games were made to suck your quarters away, and then and so they're not fair. And games made for the home systems, they've already got your money, so you have some fun, kid. Horse around with it for a while. So now block 'em, sock 'em. When John told me about this, I thought it was a boxing game with the robots, but this is something else. So this is an original thing, right? This is your own. No.
Oh, so this is John's. This is John's game. Oh, so block 'em, sock 'em is okay. So John Hancock. So
So I see the beard now. I get it.
It's John Hancock. Yeah, that's incredible. He's putting out game. Did he come to you with this, or did you go to him?
We met at the Columbus video game show.
Oh, okay.
That's the Mike Sarna high score table.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So he asked if I would be interested in porting one of his games to the 7800. And this game was also, I thought this was kind of a cool thing to look at. I thought it would be pretty simple because I manipulated the board on Pengo. Like I was just talking about, I'm changing the blocks. Well, this one posed a different question, a different issue, because if you watch when I throw this, the last tile changes colors.
Yeah.
So the last one just turned green. That was red, and this one will turn red, which was green. So the way 7800 Basic works, you could hide a tile and you can replace the tile, but the color palette that you're using is still going to be the same color palette. So this posed another question, which again I mentioned the great support with the, I got a hold of Mike and Matt and said, hey, and they told me, hey, this is what you want to look at. So I checked out the under the hood stuff that they have for 7800 basic, which I hadn't really used, and was able to get this to work. But there's limitations that it couldn't do that the Genesis could do, like the full screen.
This looks like a Genesis game in a way. I mean, it looks like, maybe a low end. This is a great looking game, man.
It looks fantastic.
You did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, the fun part was that the background is one tile map, and then I'm laying the tiles. Those aren't sprites. Those tiles, I'm keeping track of what's in the background and what's what the tiles are. And that's why, if I cleared a red tile from the screen, well, then those pipes in the background would still be red if I couldn't change the color palette. So I had to learn how to do that. Wow. With this. And then, of course, this one uses the Yamaha sound, which I can't take credit for, but it makes a huge difference.
This is a game that if my wife came in and saw me playing it, she'd be like, "Oh, cute."
Yeah. I mean, it looks
little smiley faces on the tiles.
The other thing I love. Oh,
just real quick. So you can tell me what you can say, but is this a 2600 game or something, or is this?
No, this is a Genesis.
Oh,
Genesis game.
Yeah. It looks like a Genesis game. Man, you did a good job.
He managed to keep the look of the Genesis.
Yeah, very good.
It looks very good.
Yeah, it's a Genesis game, and it's also, if you look in the Atari Age forums, it's been ported to the Jaguar.
Oh, really?
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, who can afford
this
that?
is, I think, the third one, the third port, or kind of, but this one plays differently than all the others. So that was the cool thing about working with John is, I started playing the game and I thought it was cool. And I asked him, I said, well, okay, what about combos? What if like the first red block is worth 25, the next one's worth 50, the next one's worth 75. So you've got that combo type thing.
Right.
The other thing is when you get the number of blocks, if the goal is to clear 40 blocks and there's still 5 blocks on the screen, John's running off the screen. I'm like, what if you kind of can still throw and clear off some more blocks? And if you do, you get a bonus from that. So you get a bonus from how many blocks are left on the screen, and you get a bonus for something else. But yeah, how many throws you had left. Like if you had 3 throws left, you're going to get a bonus because you did it with 3 less throws than max. So there's a different bonus structure. So it was kind of fun being able to actually have that freedom to change the dynamics of it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's probably the next game that we can look forward to then from you. Because like we said,
it can finally get released on a cart too.
Right.
This guy's been, it's like the IRS or something, the FBI or something over him. He's like, they keep stopping him at every turn. It's like the mafia is on you or something. Let me ask you this. I mean, and we don't want to hurt any, this is not to be a malicious question, but I mean, you release Popeye. All us nerds in the world are going, Darryl. And then it's like, hey, we can't sell it no more. Was that a bummer? Did you have to go outside and take a knee? Were you like, what the hell? Or was it something like, oh, well.
Oh, that is a good question. Yeah.
For Popeye, I think, well, I mean, it's a little bit of a bummer. I booked the Portland Retro PRGE last year because I was hoping to have Popeye, Rat Trap, and Pengo or Pengo all there. I thought this is going to be great to have 3 games on display, and I booked it partially for that excitement. So I knew that was going to change the dynamic of my trip, but it sold so many copies. I'm like, wow, that's how many more would it maybe sell if it were still out? Did it reach its end?
And we've had at least 3 or 4 people on here say, I'm waiting for mine right now. I have Popeye ordered. I mean, right up to the end, it looks like it was selling incredibly well.
Well, now you get to enjoy the eBay fiasco that's going to happen with a box Popeye going for $650.
Hopefully, you kept a couple cases of
yeah, yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, just have an assumed eBay ID.
Yeah.
So, is there a Darryl Guenther original work in progress after Block 'em Sock 'em? Is there something where you made your own? You have a game that you want to create yourself?
Before I was asked to do Block 'em Sock 'em, I wanted to sit down and try to just brainstorm something original. I wanted to do that, and so I didn't get very far because then the Block 'em Sock 'em offer came up, and there's still some more work to do on that. Then I got approached by another publishing. So everything that I've ported so far, like I said, it was one of those things where Rat Trap, I never tried a maze game, but here's a maze game where you have to change the maze. You have to alter the maze, and that one actually, Mousetrap is such a high resolution game that Mousetrap was me saying, "Hey, I've never worked with 320 resolution sprites before. I want to plot a 320 by 200 sprite I want to use that mode sprite to see how sharp it'll look on the 7800." And I did it. And if you go to the level where you clear your high scores, I still use those high resolution sprites, but I didn't think they fit the game. I thought the 7800 was much better with the multicolor sprites. On a CRT TV, they looked a little blurry. You lost some detail, and I just wanted it to be more colorful. I wanted it to be, what the ColecoVision version wasn't, which the arcade wasn't even multicolor. It was just high resolution single color sprites. But I wanted it to be a little bit more. I wanted it to play on the 7800 strength. So that's how that game started. Was how do I plot a 320 sprite and could I make a game with it? And I decided not to go that route. So now I was approached with, hey, I've got some licensed games, and I like the way you do ports. Would you be interested in doing some ports? So I do have some stuff going on that way, but it's not really anything I think I could talk about right now. But, hopefully in the near future or something down the line.
Okay. Well, I guess you can't talk about them, but that's exciting. So, I mean, now you've got, recognition, I mean, people know who you are and your games have been solid. I mean, this looks amazing, especially on a 7800. Gosh, I mean, it's, this is almost becoming more than a hobby for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, looking at Rat Trap here, it does look really good. So that's using the 320 mode.
No, I was going to. Yeah, I decided that I wanted to go with the multicolor because look at the pink nose and the white eyes. I think that adds so much more than just a single color sprite.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I guess, I was typing up the website while you were saying that because I was going to say, how'd you get all the colors?
Yeah.
Why don't you listen? This is your show.
I was trying.
Why don't you listen to the guy?
I got a video I got to play.
What are you doing? Homework or something? Listen to the guy. Why we're bothering this dude on a Friday afternoon? He could be going on a date with some chick.
Off his games here.
I appreciate it.
Well, I guess, man, thank you for coming on the show. It's amazing, and I'm the type of guy, I like playing the games on carts. I don't even like playing on the multi-cards. So I hope down the road we can figure out something where these things will start popping out, and I can start playing this thing on the actual 7800. And if not, I'll just have to get a multi-cart one of these days.
You're gonna have to get one anyway.
Shut up! I don't want to talk about that. I know it's the truth. These things are failing left and right. I had one of my favorite 7800 games is Basket Brawl, and I had 3 copies of it, and one is a multi-cart, or actual cartridge, but it's a multi-cart cartridge. And they all started to flake out, where like you would win the game and it would go black. And once you go black, it'll never come back on. I think that's the rhyme. Anyway, but they sent me this Ed Ladin double dual stick controller, and I stick that in there, and just a weird thought in my head. I knew that Ricky, the guy from Tellchow from Ricky and Vicky, was saying that if the second controller port was exposed, there could be phantom messages, phantom signals going through the 7800, and it can jack up the 7800. So I stick both, I stick the Ed Ladin gimmicks into the 7800, and now all my basket brawls play perfectly.
Oh, wow.
So these things are starting to wig out a little bit. It's been 40-something years, and
finicky console sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's old as shit. I mean, it's going to last longer than any Xbox or anything. Or GameCube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably in the long run, the discs are already failing on a lot of that stuff. But yeah, regardless, we appreciate you coming on the show here. And I guess outside of your own games, what's your favorite 7800 game? Any?
It's John's 8-year-old daughter wanted to ask you that.
Yep.
And also, she's going to follow it up with your
favorite color. Yep. Yeah. Favorite color.
I would. If somebody would ever remake Mario Brothers, that would be my favorite.
If only.
That would be one of my favorites.
If only.
If only. Man. So, but because I wasn't a big fan of the original release by any means.
I like that. What's wrong with it for you? What's the problem?
That was one of my favorite games. I have a best friend to this day. We met playing that game. And that was our ritual that I had on the 5200. We played it. My 5200 version blows that away. The shell creepers jump out of their shells and kick their shells over. You can do the different combos. I mean, yeah, there's quirks to it, but you're also looking at a 16K version that was programmed in 1983 versus this version that was 1988, where if you tap the joystick, Mario doesn't move. I mean, he'll move, but his frame doesn't change. He just slides across the screen. The sounds are like wet farts. I don't like that. I can't handle that. The shell creepers look like the Nintendo version. I hate that. They don't. Yeah. They look like little bugs with green balls stuck to their back. I hate everything about that version. I tried to hack the graphics, and it's so poorly written that you can't get the frames to line up to even hack it.
Well, I'm not an expert in the game, but I always thought it was okay. I have heard rumblings of people going, "I hate the 7800," and that's me and John have the same thing about Galaga. People will go on and on about the 7800 version of Galaga, and I'm like, the 7800 version of Galaga is shit. I mean, it's okay.
Right. I agree. Okay, and I grew up with the Nintendo version, and the Nintendo version felt like the arcade to me. Like that was, it sounded like it looked like it, and the 7800 looked like some kid finger painted it. It was blurry and party noises.
People love that version, though. I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm a fan of the system, but that's not a good one.
I don't like the aliens going like this.
Right.
Like they should go diagonal, not step up.
Yeah, it's a bad version. There's a lot of good 7800 ports, but those two aren't.
A ton of ones,
yeah.
But then I should back up and be fair that it was created back in probably 1983. Right. So it was one of the first Galaga. There was the MSX version over in Japan that had smooth patterns that the Nintendo was based off of, but it didn't have the bonus rounds. So it was something different. Give them credit for that.
To be fair for Mario Brothers too, I mean, when I originally played it, that was the only version I had ever played, so I thought it was fine. Me and my sister had a lot of fun with the 7800 version, and it wasn't until much later I realized how wrong it was.
You know what we need to do, John? We need to put, instead of just putting Darryl Guenther, programmer of the Atari 7800 version of Popeye, we need to put on the show descriptions, Darryl Guenther, Mario Brothers snob. That's what we need to change.
Or opinionated snob, just because in general, I've got a lot. No, because I was thinking, that analogy. What about Pac-Man for the 2600? There are people who grew up where all they had was a 2600 version.
Right. Yeah.
And when they see the arcade version, they don't like it as much because they grew up with the 2600 version.
Yeah.
So
why didn't they make it black and blue? That's the one thing I want to know. It's like the orange and baby blue thing. I mean, if it was going to look like crap, at least make it look blue and black like the arcade. It was like,
there was a reason for that, wasn't there?
Todd Fry talks about that in his speeches. Yeah, I'd love to hear him explain that live.
Yeah,
because it is interesting. He didn't know. He didn't realize that would be such a
Make it look.
He didn't have a lot of time either, if I remember right. He was told to pump some games out pretty quickly, I believe.
God, it was a terrible thing.
Yeah,
terrible.
Well, it's not terrible now because we got Darryl making Popeye and Pengo and all kinks of great stuff.
Well, that was a clumsy segue to say goodbye, but you're working on it. You're getting better.
I'm trying.
Darryl, you're awesome, man. Thank you for putting putting stuff out there that keeps us alive. I played the Atari all day today, and because of guys like you, there's life, man. And I just want to say, me and John want to say thank you. You guys are awesome. Yep. The community is awesome, and thank you for taking time out to talk to a couple of assholes like me and John about your creations.
Well, thanks for having me.
Keep it up, baby.
Keep it up.
All right.
All right.
I hated that guy.
Oh yeah, sure you did. I'm sure he loved you though.
Yeah, I don't know, but what a nice guy, huh? What a freaking
incredible. He's incredibly talented too. I can't believe.
Well, we have these guys on here, and you learn something. It seems like the carrot on the stick for him is I don't know if I can. I don't know if this has been done. I don't know if I can do this. This is what drives him to make the games. And for me, and I'm sure you too, you would want to make games either of ports of games you love,
right? Yeah,
or games where you're the star of the game and you make out with a ton of hot black girls.
Right. Yeah, that's
and I was going to ask Darryl if he could do that for me, and he seems too busy for that. But
probably a little too busy for that. Yeah.
Maybe Franco Dragon can do one for me.
I'm sure he would be right on that for you. We had a lot of great comments too during the show. Hey Joel, Obsidian, guys, I know we weren't ignoring you, but we had.
I wasn't. Somebody else was typing.
But we had a great guest, so I wanted to make sure we got all of Vinny's questions in. He got all of his in.
You were asking what's your favorite color? Do you wear Converse or Nikes? Do you like sandwiches?
Does he like what was your quote? Wouldn't it be cool? Hey.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool?
That was a terrible question. I think that would be cool. I just don't know.
I do too, actually. Yeah.
It would be a cool mishmash to,
there are two games that belong together. So,
when I was a kid, I don't know if this is a funny thing that Atari nerds will like, and I can't tell this to anybody else. When I was a kid, and I'm talking elementary school, I had a dream, and I don't even know if it was a dream or if it was an idea that I heard about. But I had a dream that a friend of mine had an Atari, and you stuck different Atari games in it.
Okay.
And if you switched them up, like you put Pac-Man, Zaxxon, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, it would change it would change like the sprites of like it would put the centipede with Pac-Man and you would be
that would be cool. Yeah.
And I had that as a kid and I thought, was that real? And it wasn't real, but there's a game called Atari Mania for the VCS that is very similar to that, and it's like it's like an acid trip because I remember thinking about this because it combines like 3 Atari games and conflates the rules and stuff. But yeah, I would like to see that with the Donkey Kong and the and the Popeye game have a big mishmash.
Right, and you got people asking about the game where you make out with blocks, where you make out with blocks.
I will make out with a block. You should have seen me when I was 8 years old with my Lego set.
Right.
Yeah.
We have Greg used to dream about Pitfall Harry because he played Pitfall 2 far too much. I've done that too, actually. If you play a lot of video games, especially when you were younger, and you go to bed, you start dreaming about.
I don't know if besides that one, I don't remember ever dreaming about one, but I do remember iWorld. You know, you'd wake up and you'd still see like the sprites and shit moving around.
Stuff moving around.
Yeah.
I've done that many times. So what about the game where you make out with hot black girls? Obsidian wants to.
When can I get it?
When can he get it?
Yeah, we're working on that. It's
we're trying to get Darryl. Yeah,
I want to release that on the VCS by next summer.
Right.
And you can't buy it because the zip code won't work.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You can only buy it if you're in predominantly African American neighborhood zip codes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
You'll get it.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Me too.
Yeah. So is it a Mystique game? It should be if they were still around.
Hey, you can
games.
My ass and naked body is in so many movies that they wouldn't have a hard time.
They have plenty to work with. Yeah,
8-bit version of me. Yeah,
I'm sure that's what they all want.
We're having the October 13th. We're having a double feature of 2 movies that.
Yeah, I saw that. I wish I
wish you could come down. It'd be fun to meet you.
Yeah.
There's gonna be music and comedians but one of the movies does not have me naked at all in it. And people were asking, "Are you going to be naked in both these movies?" I was like, "No, not both."
He had Doom dreams. Oh my God, that would be terrifying.
Obsidian, let me tell you this. This is something awesome. So I'm not a fan, and don't take this the wrong way. And I don't like Joe Rogan. Okay. And it's not political. It's just something about the way the guy carries himself. But I do like him as a UFC guy, and I do like him on his.
Oh yeah, he's a great UFC. Yeah.
But I don't like. He calls himself a comedian. He's never once brought me to the precipice of laughter. I've never almost laughed at Joe. But his podcasts are killing mine and John's podcast, so he's the king.
Only a little bit.
But he had a pool player that he's friends with, who's a professional pool player from Texas, and they were talking about the movie Color of Money. Now, I don't know. We're all the same age, so we might have all seen Color of Money. Have you seen Color of Money?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a scene where Tom Cruise goes to a pool hall, and he's playing. Speaking of black guys, there's a real tall black dude with a cowboy hat named Moselle. And Moselle says, "What do you have in the case?" And Tom Cruise opens it up, and it's a Balabushka custom-made Russian cue. And he says, "Doom." And he laughs. Do you know the creators of Doom got the name of the game from that scene in Color of Money?
Oh, really?
Because they said they wanted their game to be Doom on the video game market. They wanted to kill the video.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes,
he's not good. He's never made me laugh, but he's okay. It just depends on his guests too.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess he goes to the Comedy Store a lot and does stuff there. I don't know. I don't see where he'd be that funny, but maybe he kills it. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Funny people are normally funny all the time.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is okay. Yeah, his guests do make that show. I mean,
yeah, I mean, listening to Maynard from Tool, who used to be when we were growing up, that he was such a mysterious person. Like,
yeah.
He's not even like, if you ever watched a Tool video, he wouldn't even be in the front. He's always in the back behind like the bass player and the drummer. He was so private. So for Maynard from Tool to be on Joe Rogan talking about growing pumpkins or whatever the hell he does now.
And that's a great point, though, because the guests do make that show. Because if he has a bad guest, I'd have no interest in watching it. But he gets some incredible guests on that show. So, but just like we had today.
Oh, so there you go with the clumsy clothes.
I got to practice them at some point. So
you sound like a freshman term paper or something.
And now,
and that brings us back to the point that not all people are bad.
Everybody's applauding now.
Yeah.
I think that went pretty well. Now,
what games did you want to buy from the store that you couldn't?
I could not. I was trying to get the one that came out just before the one you were talking
Days
about.
of Doom?
Yeah, what was the one before that? Something.
What was the name of the game that you wanted?
Yeah.
Well, let me see. Am I supposed to keep up with that this week? Did I write that down? It's the damn Bomberman game, right?
No,
I can't remember the name of it.
Yes. That came out too. Yeah, there was Dyna Blaster. I was gonna get that. I was gonna get Cavern of Mars. Recharged. And then I finally settled on getting.
No, you didn't, because you didn't get it. But
but if I had, if I was able to,
if you were allowed by the Atari,
because I counted out all my pennies and I had just enough to get that one, the Cavern of Mars, and there was another one for $2.99 that just came out.
What was that? We just talked about it in the first of the show.
Yeah,
it just came out after Days of Doom. Is it a home? Is it a homebrew? Or is it like a 2600 game?
Pull it up here, because I honestly did forget the name of it, and it did look like
Is it a 2600?
No,
homebrew?
It's not. It's no. I don't think so. Anyway, just watch me type here.
Yeah, this is good radio.
This is good radio. Yep.
God, I look like I'm trying to hide my identity. I'm going to take this shit off.
See, I don't know. I'd have to go turn it on and look at it. It looked good though.
Man, maybe you need some more sleep. You're up all night. You're working all day.
I was up so late doing that damn video.
Yeah, you made your homebrew video, and I gotta say, John just did the top 78 homebrews, and you counted them down, and I would say you were pretty good. I thought Scramble was way too low. I thought that was weird that you had that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Scramble's one of the best games in the system, dude. And then what did you have? You had Astro Blaster lower than Astro Fighter. I thought that was interesting because I thought Astro Blaster was awesome.
Right. Well, the thing about those videos, guys, is that's my personal opinion. I mean, obviously,
of course,
we're
talking. That's what we're doing. We're talking about how could you enjoy Astro Fighter? Looks like there's pink uteruses at one point.
Oh, but
how do you like that? I feel like
I have so much more fun with that. Number one, because in the other one, your lasers overheat or whatever. Your blasters overheat.
Warps. You've got freaking warps. You've got hidden bonuses.
Yeah.
You've got hidden.
You do have the hidden bonuses.
You've got things to accomplish during the game. There's a boss battle that doesn't look like the god. What in the hell is? Looks like a sea crab got hit with a rock in Astro Fighter.
And you got they actually talk on that one too. Right at the beginning, they did the voice Astro whatever, get to your ships.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a cool game, and again, I mean, I do enjoy it, but
I'm also somebody that doesn't like Super Circus Atari Age because I think it's too hard.
I love that game.
And I was watching you play it, and I was like, "How are you doing that good on it? I've never done that well on it." Like
really.
Yes, yeah. It's awful. I feel like I'm going out of my mind.
You don't know if you hit that Atari Age symbol, if you hit that enough times, that changes colors. You get all kinds of Easter eggs on the screen and stuff. So you'll get like the dragon from Adventure, the chalice from Adventure pop up and stuff. And
I'll never know it.
You never saw any of that?
I'll never see that shit. No, it's too hard.
I'll have to do a video on that.
Hey, Obsidian is playing Days of Doom. So yeah, we open up. I don't know if you go back. I've been talking about Days of Doom. I've been playing it all day, and going to do a review on my site, which is Big and Funky Productions, and also the Atari 7800forever.com. But I'll have a link on it. But I think there's something about Days of Doom that is unique, and I'll get into it on my review this week. And so,
right.
Okay, he's asking about, this is your bag here, talking about the Dragon
trilogy. 7800 Dragons trilogy. Yeah, there is 3 games. And we talked to Revan Tooley about that, how he was filling gaps in the library. So he did a great puzzle game first. That was what was that based off of? No, I can't.
Columns. Man, you need to go to bed.
Yeah.
You need to go
I'm telling you, I stayed up all night doing that video. I went I'm probably getting sick.
You sound sick. You sound a little snotty.
Because I went did that video all night. Literally did not sleep. Went to work and yeah, I think I slept like maybe 6 hours last night. So
actually, I watched your video. I thought it was good. I just didn't.
Yeah,
I thought we were in agreement for most of it. I think.
Yeah, we agree on a lot of things, but life's boring if you agree with everybody or everything somebody says.
I don't know why you don't like Asteroids Deluxe that much. I think Asteroids Deluxe is better than Asteroids, but
oh really?
Yeah.
See, I just don't. I don't know why, and I like the Shield better too, but.
Yeah,
and I can get a really high score on that too, much higher than
me
Asteroids.
too. Me too. So anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to cut John off, but yeah, the Dragon games are Dragon's Cash, which is kind of based on columns. And the cool thing about those, there's two different dragons: the Storm of Embers, which is fire, and the Dragon of Storms, the Dragon of Embers.
Yeah,
and you can pick each time, so you can almost have like me and John could be like, I'm the Dragon of Storms, and I could fight him, and he could be the Dragon of Embers. And and then there's Dragon to Sin is kind of like Adventure.
Which that's your favorite of the trilogy, right?
Absolutely. That game is fantastic. And then John likes Dragon's Havoc, which is probably his most polished game, I guess. But it is a very tough shoot 'em up. So the cool thing about the trilogy is there 3 different genres, 3 different games using the same 2 characters. And the ending of Dragon's Havoc shows what happens to both those characters. So I think I'm a mark for that. I think that's pretty cool. So
I thought that ending was really cool. And then I think I built it up way too much.
No, man. Because I mean, like most of 7800 games, you get congratulations screens for the word misspelled. You know, I mean, this is at least you had something happen to these characters that you invested some time in.
Yeah, but we'll keep it at that because I'm sure we don't want to give away spoilers.
Yeah, you gave away a spoiler to a 40-year-old game on your thread the other day. The guy got mad at me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it.
No, what? It's a 40-year-old game. If it's a 40-year-old game, a 40-year-old TV show, a 40-year-old movie, it's too. If you run across a spoiler, then don't watch shit about that game.
No, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What was it? The slide puzzle? Was that?
Well, he's probably watching it now. He's probably like, "Shut up!"
Oh,
but yeah, it's the slide puzzle. You mentioned the slide puzzle boss for Scrapyard Dog, and he was like, "Spoiler alert!" And I'm like, "It's 40 years old, bro. Come on, man. Everybody knows. Everybody's confused by that."
Yeah, that's a really weird.
You know what? I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't hate that, boss. Nah, the game is a goofy mess anyway. Do you like that game?
I do like it. Yeah, it's grown on me because there was a long time I could get nowhere on that game too. On Scrapyard Dog,
too hard.
Yeah, I couldn't get past the first level. I hated it.
I don't know how you get past the jumps. I choke on them every time. What controller do you use?
I do not use the Pro line. You can't play that with the Pro line. There ain't no
That's probably my problem. That's probably why I haven't been able. I need to play it on my Genesis controller.
I was gonna say the 78 Seagull adapter is probably the way to go for that game. Or if you have like the European pad, might work. I don't know.
Do you have that? Which one do you use?
I do have it. I use the retro Game Boys pad, which is like the NES controller. So it feels really good on that controller. I'll say that.
It feels really good.
It does in the hands. Yeah. Well, is there anything we need to hit on before I let the kids out?
Yeah. Do we miss any pertinent comments?
No one can get that far in Scrapyard Dog anyway. I know somebody that can.
Well, there's not many. I mean, it's the jumps in the sewer around World 2 or 3.
They're ridiculous. Yeah.
They need to go to hell for that. But yeah, I'll try that again one day with a different controller.
Yeah, and the pain is it goes 2 speeds too. It wants you to go real slow to avoid the enemies, and then in the sewer you gotta go real fast to make those jumps, and it doesn't feel right. You know?
Yeah, I just think it's a sloppy game, man.
It is. It is.
It's a game. It's ugly. Like the colors are like if they made the colors better.
Is the Lynx version better? I've heard
no.
No.
Yes. Yeah, I got it confused.
Okay.
Scrapyard Dog is better on the Lynx, and Basketball is better on the 7800.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I heard the Lynx version was pretty all right.
Yeah, pretty okay. It's still not. Yeah. It's still not. Mario.
Obsidian likes the Lynx. Yeah. So
I never played it because I truly tried to like the 7800 version because I'm a homer, but God, it's
and we needed that game. Really, we needed a good side-scrolling platformer, and that just
who's gonna? I mean, Bentley Bear's been out for 10 years. Who's gonna?
Come yeah. Now we have a good one.
But now, who's going to come out with a new one?
I talked to Bob the other day, and he said something about he should make a sequel to Bentley Bear. So he's teasing us a little bit.
I thought he said he was done. I read that somewhere.
I don't know.
Well, we need to have Bob on because Bob's my favorite. I actually had an interview on him from 2020.
Yeah, let's get Bob. You guys want to see Bob on the show?
Yeah, man, I want to talk to Bob. I have a favor of Bob. I need him to program something. No black girls either. Just straight up, just regular non-craziness.
Right, just normal stuff.
All right, man.
All right. Well, yeah.
You sick of me?
Let's get you the hell off here.
All right. I'm sick of myself. Right. I'm gonna go throw myself a good beating. Everybody, take care.
There you go. All right, guys, take care.